Hey folks, Sean and MJ here. Yes, Sean and MJ, Sean Phillips and MJ Kelly. Who knows what the MJ stands for? You're not gonna know, so mind your fucking business.
Well, thank you.
Yes, it means Michael Jordan. Well, we're here to talk to you about something that people keep asking us about. They're going, why do you hate it? What's your problem? Were you bullied? Why don't you like it? I had a really good time. What's your problem? School. We're talking about how we hate school. And no, we didn't get bad grades or things like that.
No, we did good.
And we liked elementary school.
I loved preschool. I loved kindergarten. I loved elementary school.
But all the hell began when we went to middle school and high school and some of the colleges we went to.
Yeah, that was like a living hell. I will
the worst
never
was middle
forget.
school. Everything middle school. If I even watch certain movies from middle school, I get slightly nauseous.
If I watch a movie, like some movies are ruined for me because they came out.
The Rugrats movie.
Yeah, that just came to mind. The Rugrats movie. That one, when I watch it, I like it and stuff, but every time I watch it, I get this sick feeling. I remember.
It takes a while.
Sorry.
It's late night.
Sorry. I remember watching it when it's the room. I think this TV room I had was real dark. I always remember the creep feeling in that dark room, and it's I should have turned the lights on. I don't know why I didn't, but
I know a thing happened with me though when I was watching it. I was gonna see it that day, and I think I was in this bad mood. In middle school, I was always in bad moods. My parents were all mad, and they're like, "Why don't you go to this?" And I stayed home by myself. I remember it was one of those terrible days, and I went home from middle school, and I don't understand what it was with me back then. You and me were both really sad sacks of shit, big wrecks back then. We always went home and were upset. Don't you remember?
Well, it's not because of who we were. It's because of what we dealt with.
It was the whole situation. It was all the stress that we would get, and you would get all the stress because you were so goddamn tall and old looking and just bigger than everyone. You your size was. See, me, I'm fat and all, but back then I wasn't really that really fat. You were the biggest guy in the whole building. You were bigger than some of the teachers. When you were walking down the hallway, everyone was about here, and your head was up here. You could see your head, your helmet head or whatever, all your hair from all above everyone, and I could always see when you were coming. I remember everyone would always say to you, "MJ, why are you so big? Did you get held back?"
I know people even asked you, Sean, how old is he? And you're he's actually younger than me. They're what?
They never believed it. They always kept on asking about it and saying, "Why do you hang out with him? Is he weird? There's something wrong with him? He's so old looking and big. What's wrong with him?" They kept asking me that, and they would ridicule me about hanging out with you, because I'd always hang out with you, and they'd always have that problem with that, you being so much tall and older looking, and it never ended. I kept hearing about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
why do you hang out with MJ?
If I figured out back then, I said, all right, when you kids actually, it's middle school, but some people in middle school, can act real stupid. Yeah, and I go, all right, when you actually develop brains, you'll know that there's a thing called a hormone disorder. It's really rare, but some people do get it, and that's why. Because if they checked, I said, I wish I could have shown them my birth certificate or something. Go, look, I was born about the same year you were.
It's funny, it was me, I was like, "Hey, MJ," and then you were like, "Hey, Sean."
And people did that too. They always made
fun of... And show them your true voice. You kind of hide your voice up.
I don't want to get into that.
Let's just say your voice...
I'm not getting into that.
Let's just say your voice was even deeper back then.
Yeah, because I hide it now, but... Because I forgot, it's
But that was what made it even worse, because you had this deep
and
voice.
All these little turd boys, who didn't even go through puberty yet, were giving me all this crap, "Hey MJ," with these low voices and giving me these weird looks, and they're down here, and I'm looking, okay, what?
I remember always the problems we'd have in chorus, because your voice was so deep, and the teacher would always go, "MJ, tone it down." Remember,
half the time,
everyone would be like, "'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free." The background was like, "'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free." I used to always say you were the bass.
Yeah, because she said, remember, and she even said, there's three sections. It's there's three sections. There's the sopranos, which everyone loves. There's the altos, who are in the middle, and then there's the baritones.
But see, the baritones back then, they were
But the thing is, baritones are actually supposed to be real manly men voices.
But no one had a manly man voice.
I was the only true baritone back then.
I know.
So it's I was could have been my own section.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said you were the bass.
I was the only baritone. It's and she even said something's wrong in this. So it actually got better once I actually lip synced and just went. I was like, that's one thing I'm really good at. I'm good at lip syncing and really looking like I'm singing or saying something when I'm not. So I think that's might have been part of how I learned it. I was when everyone else was singing, because when I actually sang, she's like, all right, something sounds off key. So, you know what I mean? I just did that, and I'm like, I don't care. I don't really care about singing these songs.
One thing, though, that was one of the worst things was, like, me in, like, the 7th grade with this teacher, and, like, I'm not going to say his name, but, like, he threw chalk at me.
Oh, that.
Like, for some reason, like, at one point I remember, like, he was saying something, and I went up and brought him a paper, and he's like, what? Bring the other thing. Or he's, like, real mad about me bringing it up to him. He's like, sit down, I'll get it later, or something. I said, jackass, or something, and he's like, what did you say? And I said, you heard what I said. And he's like,
you didn't tell me this.
Yeah, and I always remember that. And then I sat down.
Well, he deserved it. He was going to be a jackass.
When you have an asshole teacher, and like some of them that are real dickheads, and you can't take it.
Yeah, and
like
we're going to come clean and say
they can
be.
You just like don't want to put up with their shit.
I know, and even though even if you're in middle school. Still,
there's just certain people that are dicks.
Yeah, and you don't have to put up with their shit.
And you can't put up with that crap.
Even though they're the teachers, still, if they're going to be dickheads, they should know it.
I know, and it's like, and then
I taught at a film school once, and I was only a teacher. It was only for a short amount of time. I had to move on after that, but like I had to make sure, I'm going to be good to these kids. These kids deserve a good learning environment. I'm not going to be a dickhead to them.
I remember though, like he was saying something over there by the board, and I was sitting down there. Like, not really paying attention. Like, I think one thing I used to always do was, like, you and me started making those videos in early 7th grade. So I used to, like, in class, draw really bad storyboards and, like, write down these scripts.
Oh,
like,
jeez, I remember that. I forgot.
And I used to always write these scripts and, like, say, Jimmy Queer goes downstairs and, like, and Amy says, I ate from free peanuts. I think something was wrong with them or something. And there were these ridiculous scripts. So I was always worrying about making these videos that no one was ever going to see but you and me.
I know. Like, we even acted like people watch. Like right now, a lot of people are watching this.
But back then, we acted the same way, acting like we had this huge audience. And like I was like, what the fuck is the audience? There was no audience. It was us. Not even our parents or family watched them.
It was just an audience of two, and we already knew.
Us. And it was like this imaginary audience. It was almost like we knew one day an audience would see them.
Yeah.
And like some of them were on YouTube, so just like look Jimmy Queer or something.
This has nothing to do with it, but this, just to clarify, remember when like you called me and said everyone hangs on to our every word? I'm like, why? And everyone's going nuts like, what? And like when I like at one point I mentioned like millions of viewers and stuff. Well, truth is, we did, okay?
Now what you meant by that is we don't have 1 million viewers right now. You meant
not right now, this second.
Over the years,
we've developed
a few millions of views from our videos.
And it's not just YouTube. Keep in mind, like we haven't only been on YouTube for about a year or two. We've been on YouTube for like over 4 years.
Because some of the videos we posted on our own website would get like 400,000 views because they would get posted on like really big humor sites at the time.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
Plus there's our site, plus there's the friend page's site, plus there's like links on other sites.
Yeah, so it's like over time, but we don't mean like right now there's millions of people watching.
We don't mean million on just this one video. We mean like on everything.
Over time and over the years and stuff, millions of people have seen. But that's a different story.
Yeah, so I just wanted to clarify.
We should have said that in the update video.
I know, but it's just like
it doesn't matter.
Just so you know, it's just like don't be like, what? You don't give that? Yes, we do. So shut up, all right? No, what were we saying?
We were saying about and like I'm sure they know what they mean because like after all that time, over 1 million people are saying have seen it.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. It's possible. It's not impossible.
Yeah, we wouldn't make anything up.
I know.
I mean, we wouldn't lie to that many people.
After being on for 4 years too, and when our website got like 6 or 7 million views too, and like I don't know how many it's got by now. It could be like who knows. But like we were saying though, I was in there. I wasn't paying too much attention, and I suddenly felt like a piece of something go like right in my eye, and not like it was like all this force, like you threw a baseball in someone's eye, and I was lucky he didn't blind me. And then I remember I got up, and like for some reason he was like laughing about it. He thought nothing was like it was funny or something. And I got up and like I was like and I went in the bathroom and then I came back in, and like I was in the bathroom. I was like, this guy's gonna get it. You know what I mean? And then like the one person was like, Sean, you don't need to do anything about it. It's okay. He didn't mean anything by it. It's all right.
Who said that?
There's one woman there, and she's like, don't do anything about it. It's okay. You don't need to tell him. And like, don't tell your parents about it. It was really weird. And then I got back in there and I was like,
she probably didn't
and I said to him,
fired.
I said, you're on here. I said to the teacher, I said, you're laughing about this. This is not funny at all. And like most of the class agreed with me until it said that the teacher was an asshole.
I thought from when the first time you told me this, I thought they were like laughing at you or something.
No,
and that made it worse. But
no, most of them agreed that he was an asshole.
Oh, okay.
And then
That's
like
good.
and then like I went in, I told my parents about it, and then like there was this huge ordeal, like on the phone with all the principals and everything. And like the next day, I didn't go to school. I stayed home and went to see Ravenous, and there's my dad.
Awesome.
I remember that. And then like when I went back in on Monday, I think it was spring break, and then I went back in, and it would only be like another month or two of school, whatever, however long. And when I went in, I had to go in this other class, and it screwed up everything. I had to go in a different Spanish class. It was just like stereotypical Spanish guy. They reminded me so much of Burt Reynolds, and I always remember he made me watch in this class.
I remember him. I remember exactly that. I remember him.
Remember, and he always reminded me of Burt Reynolds.
I know.
And he made me watch Karate Kid in like the whole class, but dubbed in Spanish with no subtitles. So like because of that, I can never watch Karate Kid ever again. It ruined it for me.
I was gonna say that was a good movie
because I had to sit in there. Imagine sitting there going like a really poorly dubbed. For all you know, he might have dubbed it himself. It was like. And the music was all screwed up. It's just like I'm a club. What
about that cool? What about that cool like I don't know, like Lust for Blood chase scene, like after that Halloween party?
I don't even remember. I just remember I was just sitting there like, oh no! And these took, like, it was like almost like 45 minutes, and we had to keep watching for like the rest of the week, this dubbed version of the movie. And I after that, I was like, I'm not watching this ever again.
Oh, jeez.
It ruined it for me, and I always think about wanting to watch it again, and I'm like, no.
Well, I think if you watch it in English, and it's like in the original American version, I think you'll be feel
like
better.
I did not do well in those Spanish classes, and I got like forced into doing them. Like for 7th and 8th grade, and
I don't get how
you got out of it. Somehow.
I never got it. And it was funny. It was also like in high school, and that they talk about those parenting classes, the things you have to take care of the egg, and you have to talk about parenting and stuff. And
that crap. Somehow I never had to do that.
Yeah, I didn't either. Like, and this fat dopey kid. This is another reason I hated it. He always harassed me. He was like, "You have to do it." He always tells me stuff I had to do. I was ready to go. You shut up, shithead. You can't.
That wasn't that little kid who kind of was like Andy Monakis?
No, not that guy. No, this is some other guy before that. Like he kept telling me, going, "You have to do this," And he was like, he always loved telling me what he thought I had to do. I'm like, "Shut up, shithead! You can't make me do anything." And and he says you have to because he was in there. It's almost like I think he hated it. So to make himself feel better, I probably did this to everybody. He said, "You have to take this." So, and I never had to take it. And the thing was, I actually, in a weird way, kind of wanted to. I don't know why. I don't know. I thought it'd be cool to carry around an egg, and I don't know, when the assignment was over, I could take it and boil it or something.
No, I never did that. I never did the one when they made him take those dolls. And all the other people I knew were doing it. Somehow I got out of it.
I don't know. It's like I never had to. I never had to take a foreign language ever.
It was almost like they looked at me and said.
Yeah, like with me, it's like they never put me in any of those classes.
The foreign language though, I struggled. I had the Spanish language trick thing when I type it in, and everything was all translated wrong. It was awful, and the stress and grief of having to get that work done. And the teacher was cool. He had this picture of him and Tiara Mallory because he won some teachers award from Disney. You remember?
Oh, him.
Remember,
I was wondering whenever you bring him up.
Whatever floats your boat. Remember, he's like, whatever floats your boat.
I never had him as a teacher, ever. And everyone kept saying, he's such a good teacher. I'm like, I've never had him. How do I know?
And then there was that one teacher we had that looked just like Jim Carrey. Remember that?
You mean the one I had in 11th grade?
No, the other one that looked like Jim Carrey. Remember? And he was like, we had him in shop class, and we made that C. Melvin racer.
You thought he looked like Jim Carrey?
Yeah. And for some reason we screwed something up. I feel like at one point we did something that made the lights go out.
We did?
I always remember something happened and the lights went out in the room. I never forgot that. I don't know.
Didn't you joke around and say he lived there and said he ate the sawdust that you make Cheerios with and stuff?
I know, but I remember there was just one guy in middle school that's from 7th and 8th grade taunted us, and his name was Mark. We're not gonna say what.
Well,
and he was this guy and he always had these huge womanly boobs, and he wore the tightest shirts. It was all on him, and the shirts always said Melvin. And he would always bring in these big cases of food that he would get the night before at a restaurant, and it'd be lamb chops, steak tartare, the fanciest stuff you can imagine. And he'd leave it in his locker the whole day, and then he'd eat it at lunch. He'd be like, And he'd go, "You think this is okay?" the whole time. And it probably had went bad. And then that one guy who was our manager at Spirit,
Oh, him.
Alex, what did he say? Alex, he would say, "You don't want it?" And he'd go. And then I remember in the lunchroom they'd always be like, "Be quiet down, 1, 2, 3, quiet." And remember at one point, C. Melvin was being a pain that day, and he wouldn't stop talking, and he just kept talking, and I said to him, please be quiet.
I remember that was embarrassing. It was just the three of us at that one table.
It was worst ever. And then that one teacher, Miss Goldman's or something, came over and said, "Go up there." Remember that real loud. She kept saying, "You see, the principal said, if anyone talks, go up there and see me after lunch."
Wait, did she make the three of us do it?
No, she wanted me to do it. Only me, because I told her to be quiet. Don't you remember? She kept saying,
that was
"Go
terrible.
up there."
I thought I had the guy.
And then I said no, and I wouldn't go, and she kept going, "Go up there!" I'm like, "No!" And like everyone in the cafeteria was like looking, and the principal was looking like this.
And I was like doing this. I'm like, jeez.
And like the whole room was all looking. I remember they kept bringing.
I should have come out and I've been like, what? I was ready to go. Why don't you take a picture? It'll last longer.
I didn't go up.
I wanted to yell it out.
And after it was over, I told the principal, I was just trying to tell C. Melvin to be quiet. And then like the C. Melvin guy though, every time during like lunch, he would take your food and sneeze on it and made you sick a couple times. Then we'd take your food and go,
I think once or something. Right?
Then he'd take your food and he'd like eat it and put his hands all over.
We used to rub it on the floor and under the table.
That's a different story, though.
I know. It's like everyone loved to mess with my food and ruin my day. I don't get what did I do to deserve that? I didn't do anything.
I know. And like we had no friends in the school, really. Or at least they didn't want to talk to us, so we had to sit at like the ESOL table with all the kids from other countries, like the Spanish.
Like I had one. I sort of had one friend. Like some of the friends I had them, and then for some reason something happened, and then they I don't know, they just disappeared or something.
Like, and I had a lot going into the school, like from 5th grade on, and suddenly they all abandoned me, and I was stuck with MJ.
Yeah,
Not really stuck with him, but he was like really the only person I discussed anything with in the whole school.
Well, it's the only person who wouldn't act like a dick to you.
I know, but it was pretty much mutual with both of us, though. Except for Sean,
Yeah, we're like two of the only guys who the school
played
didn't act like...
Getco.
I know, like we're the only ones who didn't really act like dicks. I mean, because you gotta admit...
you and me were just always just sort of there. We were always like the guys there, like almost like a fly or something.
Yeah, because... I think originally... Didn't like that kid with the boobs? Didn't originally he want to be friends with me and stuff? And then you.
No, and then we told him your name was Jack.
We thought shoot, he's like, what if he knows my name? And then yeah, originally he wanted to be friends with me. I think once he hung out with me and we had sort of a fun day. And then didn't you treat him like shit? And then he started to be mean to both of us.
I remember too. He told me that he had like a gerbil or something, and he put it in one of those ball things and wrote it down a L and killed it.
I don't remember that.
I remember he always would bring those magazines with
I remember that.
Those women on the cars, and he was always showing it to us, and we never
knew
if he was showing us the car or the woman.
We
never knew.
He was just pointing straight at it. He wasn't pointing on it. He was going, "Okay, guys, check this out." It's like, okay, but I don't know what I'm checking out.
We actually made that movie, Mr. Knox.
Yeah, based off of him.
Based off of that kid, because he made that much of an impression on us. We've never seen him again in I don't know.
Yeah, what do you think he's like now? I kind of get creeped out wondering about it. What does he look like now?
I think he lost some weight and doesn't have the knocks anymore. I think I saw him that one time in the summer of 8th grade. He's like, "Hey, Sean, want to go to the St. Pius Fair with me?"
8th grade?
Or 9th grade? Sometime. I don't remember.
We saw him, remember, in 8th grade. Didn't he get, held back or something?
Oh, he kept getting held back. And remember there was
one
time... remember this? Then the announcement, there was there has been a binder missing or stolen, remember? Something about a stolen binder, and he was the one who stole it.
He stole someone's binder?
Remember he would steal things. He would steal, protractors and highlighters, and he'd steal things from people all the time. He had a big problem with that.
And I think
remember
he when I went out of my yearbook, remember he stole my yearbook and stomped on it and ruined it for he was didn't he stomp and throw mud on it and stuff in front of everybody, and I'm sitting there I took it and I'm just he's just grinning at me and everyone's looking and I'm thinking, wow, I'm so glad that he's being held back. We're going to high school and he's getting held back. I said, "MJ, guess what? He's getting held back." And then Mark came up to me and kicked me real hard in the leg and kept holding me, kicking the shit out of my legs. And then the one teacher's like, "Get over here! What are you two doing?" to both of us. He's like, "Go to the office immediately!" And then they were gonna suspend us. Because you and him?
Yeah, because they thought we were fighting, and he was doing it to me. And then, luckily enough, he got suspended, and I didn't. You know what I mean?
Because he started it.
He fell off the toilet. And the thing is, everything we're saying that seems kind of queer and odd, these things really happen to us. We have, hours of stories of this crap.
I know. Half the stuff that, some stuff we reference to, you see down in Murph, you think, wow, where do you smoke pot and come up with this? Well, we've stated before, we've never done drugs. And secondly, we didn't come up with it when we were drunk, either. This stuff really happened to us.
I mean, one thing we're making up, but it's actually, we have lots of stories of this stuff. And
hours. We couldn't fit it all into one video.
No, I know. I don't think there's any other ones we should say for this. Should we get into a little bit of high school?
Sure.
Let's think of anything else.
Ninth
in middle
grade.
school. Like in middle school too, there was like this one girl that you liked, and like
oh that,
and like it spread all around.
And that didn't just go throughout middle school.
That haunted you forever.
Yeah, that went throughout like most of high school.
Oh, and there was like this neighbor or something, and like they all made these stories like you spied on her and you were filming with your camera. They kept going, MJ, do you film her? Do you spy on her with your telescope?
And then they said, hey, MJ, it's like she hung at my house. You want to hang out? She'll be getting nude. You want to do this? Or it's like, what? Or these dudes like always taunted me about it. The whole school knew. Somehow I told like. I don't know if I told somebody or I mentioned it or something happened and somehow it got leaked.
Did you tell them about your deep voice, or was that in the other one?
Oh, that.
Did we talk about that yet? Or I'm trying to remember what we've talked about so far.
I kind of forgot. We sort of like cut it because we got too deep into something. But
you know, well, you had a deep voice and like deeper than everyone else.
Yeah, I was taller and I looked older than everybody.
Well, see, we might have already said that.
I looked about 5 or 6 years older than everybody, and
like, everyone like held that against you. And was always like, Sean, why do you hang out with him? What's wrong with him? Why is he like that?
When I was 11, I looked like I was like at least 17. So literally seemed like it. So I think some of the teachers were like, I don't get it.
No, and like it just came out, and people were like, "Well, what do you do?"
If I'd known back then, I would have said to some of these compared to the way I seemed, they seemed like kids. So I should have said, all right. And when you actually develop real brains, you'll know that there's a thing called a hormone disorder, and it's rare, but few people have it, but I do, and that's why I seem this way.
Another thing that happened to us was we kept getting stuck in these terrible gym classes. Remember?
Those
gym classes were awful. And then you and me were always fucking around in those gym classes like crazy. And like we had like one guy and this other guy who had no hair anywhere. And except for this one little tattoo.
Oh, yeah.
And they had like no hair anywhere. I always looked at him. Remember you was always like, think he has pubes. Remember you used to always talk about that stuff?
You kept telling me, like, do you ever wonder? I'm like, no.
And like, but I'm not kidding, he had no hair anywhere. Not on his face, his head, his eyebrows, anywhere. And I always remember that. And like, it's just always that tattoo. You'd always see it. It was always like a flower or something. And remember,
was it like a butterfly or something?
Something. It was real fruitish. And then like he'd always get mad at us because for some reason you and me like first of all we didn't want to change in front of everyone, so they'd always like have something to say. So we'd always sort of wait till everyone left or change in the bathroom, and then we'd go in there and like stand against the wall and talk forever. And we'd come out at least 10 to 15 minutes late sometimes. And he'd be like, hustle, 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 guys, hustle. Remember, it was like from like almost like, wasn't it like a real long run from one end to the other? And he was always like, hurry, hurry, hurry. Remember that?
Yeah.
And he was always like, come on. And he'd get real mad at us. And he'd be like, you guys got to catch up. 40 push-ups. And all that stuff. Remember, we could never do them really well.
Well, I was sticking with you.
No, so we were both sucking because you were sticking with me. Then we'd go in there and screw around. Then we had that other teacher who we made so mad in there. He's like playing football or something, throwing it back and forth. And suddenly we hear him go, bucket! And everyone seemed to think he said bucket. He did not say bucket.
Like what did he say? Like what did he say? Like what does he mean? Like meat by the bucket or something? He's just like it was like bucket, dude.
And everyone ran to the bucket, and we couldn't stop laughing for like the rest of the day.
We always fell over and was looking at us like we were like
the teacher was like, "Well, guys, you did a good job today," and we were like, not for like.
We were like, remember I like fell on the ground, and you were like leaning back, and we just couldn't stop laughing about it. I
know, and like we got forced into that hacienda trip. We said something about that before. This terrible trip to this Mexican place and eating this awful food.
Is that place like torn down?
I know. Remember how like every time too we would go on a trip and like by like the 8th grade they had to stop because like there was always a problem with the trips. Remember, everyone was such a ruckus and an issue. It was just you and me there.
Were there certain kids like making noise and causing problems?
And we never got to do them anymore. Like when we got to high school, they had to cancel them because there was such a problem. And like basically the group of people we were with were a bunch of assholes. Half.
Most of them.
Like, they weren't very nice to us. And, like, we tried to be nice to them. They were always, like...
We tried.
And they always had something to say to us. Like, some kind of a problem. Somehow, like, in the end of high school, though, they all liked us. Don't ask me what happened. Maybe.
It's like all of a sudden, I seriously thought, by, like, 10th or 11th grade, I'm thinking, when I graduate, I was seriously thinking, like, flipping everybody off. But I thought, no, then they'd give me a problem about it. But after I graduated, I was considering if someone came up, I'd be like, stay away from me, you fucker. Or it's like, cross me again in life, and I will kill you. You know what I mean? It's like any of that, but then all of a sudden everything changed. I'm like, wow, who knew?
So this video was why we hate school, middle school. We're gonna stop here and do one on high school.
Yeah, there's loads more, but we'll tell you more.
This is middle school part 1, and then we're gonna do high school part 1.
Do more of high school.
Yeah, we'll do middle school more when we write them down and think about everything.
Yeah.
And so far, this is all we came up with right on the spot, and I can't believe we all did all this and we didn't cry.
I know.